Joshua Williamson, Jorge Molina, and Michael Janin conclude Abyss's mission against Batman and Lex Luthor as the villain rallies Batman Inc. against the former leaders, forcing the men to put their differences aside and team up to fight for each other's lives. Joshua Williamson concludes his first run on Batman with an action-heavy issue that falls a little short of what I was expecting. While the action is a lot of fun to watch unfold, being this is a finale for the arc, a lot of story is just dumped out here. Maybe a bit too much, and some of it should have been spread out throughout the story more, especially all of the origin stuff for Abyss, which is just thrown out casually over 2 pages here. Abyss's story obviously is going to continue in something else that Williamson is writing, being that he gets away at the end, but seeing as the last few issues of the arc weren't really filled with adequate plot in my opinion, it should have been spread out across those issues and detailed a little bit more about how Abyss came to be, since it's left a little bit ambiguous about how Luthor created him and gave him his powers. Batman's sudden code word turn of Batman Inc. also kinda came out of nowhere and had no real hints the team was undercover and working against both Luthor and Abyss, especially since it seems like in the past issues, Abyss was somehow controlling the team with its powers or something. Jorge Molina and Michael Janin continue making the book look absolutely beautiful and picking up the slack from the lackluster story, delivering some fantastic action as well as great scenes focusing on shadow and light and darkness. Batman issue 121 was a lackluster ending to the Abyss storyline, dumping so much information in this finale that would have been better received if it was peppered throughout the whole arc, and it would have prevented the issue from feeling rushed. I'm going to give this issue a 5.5 out of 10. Batman issue 121 heads to the past where Bruce Wayne announces the beginning of Batman Inc., angering Lex Luthor, who asks Mercy to call up information about the most dangerous places in the world, beginning with Badizia, finding the crime rampant and corrupt city perfect since he's feeling inspired. In the present, Lex and Batman face down Abyss and Batman Inc., learning from the villain that when Luthor sent Batman's team after him, he convinced them that Luthor was the one who needed to die. He offers Batman the same deal, telling him to kill Lex and he'll give him his eyes back. Lex realizes that Batman is blind as Detective Kaya arrives, telling Abyss that he is under arrest. Batman tells her to get out of there as a bunch of police helicopters arrive behind Kaya, who intends on arresting everyone and sorting this out later. Abyss is more than happy for the audience, telling Batman Inc. to kill Luthor. The team attack Batman and Lex, who thinks Batman is worthless now that he's blind. Batman, however, can actually see Luthor, who was prepared for this type of fight. Soon Batman calls for a code club of heroes, revealing that Batman Inc. were actually on an undercover mission and they have turned on Abyss. He tells the team that he had such high hopes for them. As the villain battles the team, he says they all want to be Batman, no longer the victim, which is why when Lex came to him with an offer, he took it up, being offered the tools and training to become a new kind of Batman. But then when Lex's plan to create a Batman for each city filled with crime began, Abyss was abandoned, so he decided to show Badizia how scary it can be in the dark, and in response, Lex sent Batman Inc. after him. Lex calls him a liar as Abyss grabs him, ready to cut his throat as he tells him that lies grow strong in the dark. Kaya opens fire on the villain, causing Abyss to flee off the roof. She wants to go after him, asking Batman what to do, which angers Lex since Batman has been lost in the dark as well. Bruce remembers Oracle's words about not retreating into the darkness, as well as Alfred's about those who hide in the light. As he tells Lex that he does need the man's help, Batman grabs Luthor's gauntlet, ripping out some of the tech and installing it in his own suit, knowing that he gave darkness to Abyss, a weapon he's experienced with, but now he's bringing them both into the light. He uses Lex's tech to light up his bat symbol, telling Lex to make sure Batman Inc. aren't arrested as he leaps off the building after Abyss. Soon Batman catches up to the villain, utilizing Luthor's tech to trap the villain in a bright white void, telling him that Luthor wouldn't have given the man the darkness powers if he didn't have a toy to stop him. Abyss attacks, not needing any toys, but Batman sweeps him with his cape, knocking him back. Batman is impressed with his skills, but he uses darkness as a crutch, but Abyss lashes out, knowing that Batman does as well, as the hero suddenly is able to see, just as Abyss slashes up his bat symbol. Glad the hero is able to see now, since he'll be able to see his life flash before his eyes. Batman grabs the villain's weapons, snapping the axe in half as he tells him that he's lost sight of Batman Inc. and Luthor preyed on that, knowing while he's not responsible for Abyss, he can help him. The villain says that he only wanted to be like Batman, but instead he's always in the dark forever. The villain deploys a blackout grenade, disappearing into the city, and later on, Kaya tells the team Abyss is on the run, and Batman Inc. has enough inside information that he found all of the people the villain kidnapped. Knowing Abyss took them so he could drown them in the darkness like he did, but it never stuck, and the villain got himself lost in the dark. Batman knows that it can happen, knowing that it was smart that Kaya called in backup against Abyss. Kaya hopes that he would stick around town for a while, but Batman knows that Badizia doesn't need its own Batman, it needs her, wanting her to give him a call when she's ready. Luthor meanwhile screams at Batman Inc., saying that he paid them and they betrayed him, but the team know they never cashed his checks, finding out that he built more than one Abyss and figured working with him they could find out how many cities Lex ran experiments in. The team luckily found a list, knowing exactly what Lex was up to, but the man wants the team to prove it, since right now all they have is the word of a killer. The team think that they should have let Abyss kill Lex, but Batman reminds Hood that that's not how they do things, and Lex is smart and nothing will connect him to Abyss, but he has lost control of Batman Inc. and he's off the hook for now, but that doesn't mean the villain is happy about it. The team ask how Bruce knew that they weren't really working for Abyss, so Bruce reveals that it was when they pulled their punches in the prison. They ask who the fake Abyss was that they supposedly murdered, learning that it was just a random body from the morgue. They know all of this was a ploy to get Lex back into the city and get him to reveal what he had done to Abyss. Batman asks how long they've been on this case, learning it's their longest running case ever, and it started just after Batman Inc. started, and just because Batman moves on to something else doesn't mean the whole world stops moving. He wonders why they didn't call for help, but the team know Batman wouldn't have called for help. The hero takes his leave from the city, complimenting their good work and that he'll be in touch, but right now he's got to do something in Gotham. Batman returns to his city, contacting Oracle and telling Barbara that she was right, and it's hard for him to celebrate his wins, but he is working on it. Oracle is more than happy to help as Batman contacts Ghostmaker, who tells him that no one calls anyone anymore and he should just text. Batman wants him to watch over something for him as the assassin continues training Clown Hunter. At LexCorp Tower, meanwhile, Detective Kaya infiltrates the building, intent on finding what Lex was up to in Badizia, as Prometheus reports back to Deathstroke, telling him that Batman has returned to Gotham. Slade wants his secret society to monitor every move he makes, since they need to keep Batman distracted while they prepare for their Shadow War.